Okay, welcome to today's episode of 5 Minutes With. We're lucky to get to coach several different couples here at Digital Barbell, and today we've got two people who are a couple that Blakely is lucky enough to get to coach.
That's right.
We've got Brian and Abigail today. Thank you guys for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I definitely want to get into, what you guys do now with us through Digital Barbell, but I figured we could take a little bit of time to learn more about you guys, get into kind of the history of who you are. Why don't you guys tell everybody where you are, what you guys do, and how you found us?
Sure. Okay. So we live just north of Baltimore in Maryland. We live kind of in the country. I work from home. Abigail does too. I'll let her do her intro. We have 3 little kids who are wild and crazy and lots of fun. I work from home as a computer engineer, so I write code in my own basement, which is what grown engineers do. That's probably enough about me.
Cool.
We have 3 kids. They're 5, 8, and 11.
Wow.
We've been married 14 years. That's another
Fantastic.
detail. Yeah. And I have the privilege and honor of getting to home educate our kids, create an atmosphere that is conducive to learning and tailor the learning to fit who they are and point them towards the kind of people that we hope they'll become. So that's awesome. My greatest interest and challenge.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Talk about a full-time job and a lot of responsibilities. Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's fun.
Brian, did you know that Blakely used to be a coder also, Brian?
I did not.
There you go.
I used to work for Rice University. Mm-hmm. I worked for them for like 18 years, but I wasn't say like coder. I mean, that was my degree was in IT, but then I was like kind of like a liaison between the people who coded our system and the people who used it, because I could understand both sides.
You spoke human and engineer.
Exactly.
Really
but I think we still have the books around here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how, I don't want to date how old this was, but HTML and C++
Java.
and Java.
No.
The books are still around here somewhere.
Throw those out.
That's awesome.
Previous life right there.
Yeah.
So let's kind of not really fast forward to now, but Brian, you actually reached out to us back at the end of June of last year, 2023. Mm-hmm. And I think at that time you had just finished doing E.C. Sinkowski's nutrition masterclass, and you were already kind of working out at home. Tell us a little bit about where you were at that point in your fitness journey and why you reached out.
Yeah. So I had just finished the masterclass, and the big idea I'd learned from that is how a small heading change persisted over a long period can lead to a large result over time. Mm-hmm. The value of consistency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't be a superhero on day one. Just keep coming back every single day. One big idea I learned in there is how muscle mass improves your base metabolic rate and just kind of stacks the cards more in your favor. Mm-hmm. Having gone through the masterclass and kind of dialed in my dietary needs, when Abigail mentioned, hey, there's a way to do online coaching and ramp it up, I was like, oh, that's it. And I contacted you guys the next day. It was it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, I remember talking to you on the phone. We were actually in Nashville on a trip, and I remember talking to you, and you already had some dumbbells at home. I remember. What were kind of the workouts like that you were doing back then?
Very casual. So there would be 15 minutes of some kind of cardio, typically rowing, and maybe I'd do some curls. Definition of ineffective, but it was something.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's great. I mean, most people will just sit on the sidelines and not do anything. Yeah. So as soon as I knew you were doing something and you were willing to learn, I was like, this guy's going to kill it.
And what you said about consistency, I feel like for both of you guys, that has been, I think the key to you guys' success is your consistency. You never miss. If something pops up, you guys were sick at one point and you're like, okay, give me band workouts. Yeah. And it has literally it's been amazing to watch y'all's consistency. And that has truly been what you said, why you guys have just projected quickly, from where you started to where you are now.
You guys can't see it on your end in True Coach, but your coach can see your consistency percentage for the last 7, 30, and 90 days.
Yeah. And y'all are always at
you're in the green all the time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I wish there was a way for you guys to see that on your end to keep you encouraged. All right, so what are your workouts like now with Blakely? And like, what was the process of, a lot of people they've heard of online coaching, but no clue what it's actually going to be like. Kind of walk us through how you got on-ramped on, what the beginning was like, and what your workouts are like now.
Yeah. So, despite that weird starting point of 15 minutes of cardio and let's throw some dumbbells around, like what I loved is you met us right there. So it was 30 minutes 3 times a week. And the first workouts we got from Blakely were 30 minutes 3 times a week. We started learning some new motions, started dialing those motions in. And like one thing I've just loved about weight training and this world is how much there is to learn and how just fascinating it continues to be. It's fun. Yeah. So what I did before, in addition to ineffective, it was just boring. But like every week, there's some new motion or some tweak to an old motion that I get to kind of dive into and understand, which tickles the part of my brain that likes to learn new things, which has been great. Yeah,
and that's another piece that you guys are really great at is like the feedback portion of the coaching is like, I feel like you guys both really like take to heart like the feedback. And then like, I'm like, oh my gosh, they just dialed it in like the next workout. It's amazing. It's awesome. Cool.
Have you ever been amazed that when Blakely gives you or watches one of your workouts and gives you feedback, she just like has a resource to show you like for something that she's created in the past? Like
you've done this before, I see.
Yeah.
The arsenal, yeah. All right, so now you've been doing this for 7 months with us, unless my math is wrong. What kind of changes have you seen, and how are you feeling physically?
You started like about a month after, right, Abigail?
Yeah, I'm specifically asking Brian on this one. Now we're going to shift over and put all the focus on Abigail.
Skipping ahead.
Yeah, like definite visual changes in muscle composition. And that was surprising. 3 months later, I was like, oh, I have biceps. Like, oh, I didn't know pecs could do that. Like, there's just been, fun little discoveries.
You're building muscle.
Really encouraging. Yeah.
You've also had to buy new equipment, right? I mean, you've outgrown the weights that you started with.
I need a dumbbell budget at this point.
Yeah.
Having to buy more dumbbells. We live at the top of a really steep hill. And so like getting mail coming back, it's a bit of a hike to get back up to the door. And that's a non-event now. You get to the top and you're not huffing anymore.
That's awesome. Getting
things off the floor. Like I know how to deadlift and I don't worry about tweaking my back.
Huh, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's also surprising how practical weightlifting skills end up being in your life.
That's great. That's great to hear because that's really what we want out of it.
Yeah.
It's functional fitness.
And I bet one thing that's different about your training too is if you were doing that 15 minutes of cardio, before each of those 30-minute workouts or whatever, I bet the kind of conditioning that you're doing right now is completely different than what you were doing back then too. I bet you've kind of learned to challenge yourself in new ways with that. Yeah, there's always, I have a theory that there's a section of Blakely's workouts devoted to mental toughness. There's the things that just make my muscles sore, but then there's the things this is a brain fight. I've got to just endure this thing.
That's true.
They're onto you.
Yeah. So you can confirm or deny that, but that's my hypothesis.
Love it.
No, she's always walking around saying stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I've found, like having beat consistently, a few dozen of those brain fights, it's just like, okay, I can, this is scary, but I have done this a lot of times before. We'll get it done. In 10 minutes, it won't be scary anymore.
That's awesome.
That's so true.
Great to hear.
And I mean, honestly, like you learning that for yourself, I feel like is something you can impart on your kids too, because they're up against new experiences every single day. And this is going to be scary. I don't know if I can do this. And I'm sure that your confidence in that rubs off on them too. Yeah.
It's truly an achievement to be able to go to that place how you guys do in your basement, you know, and I know you guys are lucky enough to most of the time get to work out together. So you do have that little push, of a companion working out with you. But I do try to switch things up, and I'm like, I'm not giving them the same workout this time. Like they're going to be on their own this time. But
it's fun.
It's cool to like be able to like push that way. And, like I said, working out at home in a basement and following just like something from online. That's great. But that's quite an achievement, guys.
Are you guys competitive against each other ever?
Not really. Maybe a little bit. Are you?
I am.
Oh,
I love it.
But see, if you don't let on that you're being competitive, if you lose,
no
then
shame.
Yeah, you
I'm
just
the
don't
only
say
one
anything.
who knows.
Yeah. There you go.
This sounds like a very similar dynamic that we have going over here. So Abigail, Brian started working with Blakely, then you reached out really pretty shortly after, and it wasn't even like a sales pitch we had to give you. You're like, I want to do this too. How do I get started? Why don't you tell us, because you have a pretty big background with fitness and exercise. Tell everybody kind of what you did prior to working with Blakely.
Yeah. Well, I guess like growing up, I just kind of dabbled in a little bit of everything unofficially. Um, and I was an active kid and I played sports with my siblings and friends. My main sport was I was an equestrian, so I rode horses competitively. That's not something that carries over very well into adulthood if you don't have like a farm and a lot of money for horses.
Right.
So I guess like after college, I started running some. I was noticing that like I was getting tired walking upstairs. I was like, that's not right. So I just started running because you don't have to learn anything new in particular, and you don't have to buy a lot of stuff. And then I guess it was a couple years after we got married, I decided I'm going to try 5Ks because I'd never done that before. And I liked the idea of just having a goal to work towards to kind of keep me doing something.
Yeah.
And I like the accomplishment of finishing races, but I don't really enjoy getting out of breath, like feeling exhausted. Like that's not fun for me. And I'm not a fast runner. I'm just, I don't know, cardiovascular endurance was something that's just important to me. So being healthy. So I was like, well, this is good. I never really did anything else. I don't think like I didn't know anybody who did strength training. I didn't know any women in particular who did like lifted weights. So when I heard and saw, I guess through the podcast and then things online on videos of you guys and saw and heard Blakely talking about weightlifting, I was like, that sounds like something I'm interested in. I'd love to learn that. That sounds really cool. So that was inspiring.
Cool.
Right before I signed up, I guess actually for a couple months before that, I had been just running on the treadmill in our basement, I think 3 days a week for like 20 minutes and then just doing like random things with 5-pound dumbbells that I think actually I picked up some things by watching videos of you guys online. I was like, oh, I'll try that today. But I didn't really know about like how to progress and stuff. So yeah, I guess
That makes sense.
Yeah.
that's it.
What was the last time you used those 5-pound dumbbells for anything?
Yeah. Well, the other day there was like I think that ATYT thing. Yeah, that was in like a warm
like
up.
a warm up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, these are so light.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? Like when you understand, like the way the body can adapt to strength training, like what you're truly capable of.
I remember
sure.
after we started working together, you had another 5K on the book still, right?
Right.
And I remember you sent me a note afterwards about kind of like what you just said of like, okay, I used to always do these 5Ks and like I don't really feel like I have to sign up for these anymore just to propel your fitness, right?
Yeah, that was kind of that was a mind shift. Yeah, I don't have to do that because this is a lot more fun too. Digital barbell workouts are fun. I'm learning new things. I'm getting stronger in ways that you can't when you're just running. You're not going to build your biceps if you're just running. Like it's kind of obvious, but I never really stopped to think about this. Yeah, so I don't really like. I might do 5Ks again occasionally, but I don't need that for consistency or accountability. And since we're doing stuff together too, like that's really helpful.
Yeah.
To keep on track.
Yeah.
I know one thing that was really important when you started Abigail was to know that you were doing things right and not exposing yourself to a lot of risk of getting hurt. How is that going so far in an online coaching world?
Yeah, that's true. I actually hurt my back like I guess in 2022 maybe. I just like bent over to pick something up and then had this like terrible back pain, sciatica stuff, and it lasted for like a week. I couldn't stand up after that. And I'm like, this is terrible. I guess I'm like getting old, or I don't know. And so I was concerned, and, and then I'd hear like, well, you have to like, I do resistance training to get a stronger back. And stuff like, I don't know. I don't really know anything about this. I've never had this modeled to me. So yeah, I was a little concerned about hurting myself, but also I wanted to be able to build up strength so that kind of thing wouldn't happen again. And I heard about, likely you talked about a couple times how you would hurt your back, and then you were able to like even avoid surgery by just strength training. And that was inspiring to me too.
Cool.
She inspires me too. We have that in common.
I feel like Abigail, you're one of like the best movers too that we have like in the client base. Like you move really well, so you just have like I think like a natural body awareness. And I'm like, okay, I'll tell you like one little like adjustment, and it's like it happens immediately. I'm like, okay, there we go. I'm like model client. I think I've said before to her, I was like, I could totally use your videos as like the demos.
Nice.
I think some of that might come from riding horses, because you have to have a lot of like good proprioception and awareness of like where you are, and everything you do kind of translate to the horse, so they can sense your fear through the way that you are moving. I don't know. I wonder. Anyway, thank you. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Seriously.
So you've been at this for what, 6 months now? The strength training with Blakely. Like, how do you feel physically overall?
Yeah. Great. I think the best that I ever have.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I have more muscle definition than I've ever had. I noticed, like, I feel like you get older and you kind of, or just through adult life, you get used to the way certain things feel and how hard something might be. Carrying a watering can, picking up my kids, even though they are getting heavier all the time. Like, I notice a definite difference in the way that things feel and how I feel moving. And then also just like I have more confidence because of what I can accomplish in the gym. It's kind of like a superpower nobody else knows about, but
I love that.
That's awesome.
I love that.
I love that. That's amazing how when it transfers over from the gym to just like things in your real life.
I think that's an underrated thing that we don't talk about enough, where if you have strength and capacity because you train, like really nothing in life stands out to you as like, oh, I can't do that because that's going to be hard. You just go do it. And it doesn't really register that this is going to be a challenge. And
I know.
People our age are like, oh man, getting old is tough. Well, it's within your control. Do the things that these guys are doing. And it's not an issue.
Yeah. And especially like having kids and they see you like doing pull-ups or jumping on a box or, just things like that. I think it's cool to be able to impress your kids still too. And then also,
Speaking of the kids, like with 3 kids at home and schooling them at home and just all the responsibilities of being parents, how in the world do you guys prioritize the time to go down in the basement to do these workouts? How does it happen consistently? Because that is the thing that trips most people up.
It's on the calendar. Like it is a scheduled event that other things get to not overlap with because it's already there.
I love it.
We do it first thing. That's a practical choice that makes it really easy. So there's no dreading it through the day or anything like that. It's you get it done. You've accomplished something significant at the beginning of the day, and the whole day gets to benefit. It's been fun. Like the kids are actually starting to notice and join in. Like
Another common
the kids
thing.
are all the kids are all in CrossFit classes of their own, kids level CrossFit.
Oh, nice.
And so they're learning the motions, and then sometimes they're up early and come pick something up and join us for a bit. So it's kind of just integrating with life, but it has a dedicated carved out time, and that's really the key. Same time every day.
And accountability. I know that if I don't get up, then he won't get up, or I can't let him get up, and and then also that Blakely is expecting us to do this. So we have the program set up for us to do. There's no I don't know what to do today. So like there isn't all that like time that could be lost because it's just there. That makes it really easy.
That's awesome. What time of day do you guys work? I know we're at different time zones, so it's hard to judge based on
First
when
thing in the morning.
Like, is it like
we get up at like 6.
Okay, and then you're
Yeah.
down into the gym. That's awesome.
I'm sorry if anybody watching this was hoping they would say they had some sort of hack for being more consistent.
No.
That's one thing I've loved about you guys and DC is like there's no secrets to this. This is wellness and fitness is
Yeah.
boring and simple. Yeah, it's like
That's true.
the muscles you use grow, the
Yeah.
food you eat impacts your body composition. The
Yeah.
calories in, calories out. Like it's a very boring, simple world.
Yeah.
And
But that's exciting too, because
It's
like
true, yeah.
whether you stay working with digital barbell for no matter what amount of time, you now know the secret sauce. And when you think about what you're capable of in the future, or how strong you can get, or what changes you can keep making, it's all possible because you now know the system and you just have to keep doing it. It's
Yeah.
like it's been demystified. There's no secret out there. Just stay consistent with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Boom.
exactly.
You'll be overnight
goal, take
success in
steps
10
towards
years.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
What
That
did
is
you
a great
guys do to
tagline.
get in such great shape? Well, we just stayed consistent for a really long time.
Okay, I have to tell y'all something funny. So I saw one time in your videos. Actually, I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's a balance. Do you have a balance beam in your garage?
We do.
I mean, your gym. Okay.
Yeah, it's like
for the kids.
a foam one on the floor. Yeah.
So I saw this one day. I just like caught my eye, and I'm like, Jonathan, do you think that they bought a barbell? Like I thought it was
Looked like a box with a
the
barbell
box
in it.
of a barbell.
Oh,
I was
man.
like so excited. It was so funny, and I was like, and we were like studying this video. We're like, I think they bought a barbell, and they didn't tell me yet, and
Yeah.
it's in the box. And then
It's the secret barbell.
I realized it was a balance beam.
There you-
I was like, oh.
I mean, by the time you crunch the numbers on how expensive dumbbells are these days, you might end up just deciding to
It
move
was-
to a barbell
It was
sooner or
funny
later.
though.
I don't know how big your basement
We're
is.
hoping to move up to barbells at some point.
Yeah, I figured it
Sounds
was
good.
just funny.
Yeah, because I mean, 35-pound dumbbells, 50-pound dumbbells. They
I
start.
know he's already got 50s now. I was
50s
like,
are no joke.
y'all- I know. It's like
Yeah.
y'all are gonna need them soon.
Aren't you? I think you showed me videos of Brian's. Were you front squatting with 50s?
Have I?
Or my
It was
Those
he
are
was
the
doing bench presses with 50s
bench press with
recently.
50s? Okay,
Yeah.
because those get hard to get into position once they
know.
start getting up
Yeah.
to
They
50
rock your
pounds.
back, I know,
I mean,
for
that-
sure.
that's a
Deadlifts
lot.
are kind of hard because they're so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people listening to this that are kind of where you guys were before you reached out to us. And whether they work with us or not, how would you encourage those people to get started?
I think that I love that overnight change in 10 years kind of tagline is it's reality. Like stop looking for that one thing that's going to change everything. It's just get up, get going, get consistent, ask for help because while being simple, like there's a lot of nuance to doing lifts safely. There's a lot of nuance to dialing in nutrition effectively. Like it's not, there's no hacks. It's still work and time, but like get help and be ready and expecting lifestyle change. So anything sold to you as something you do for a month and then you're done is a lie because like, your health and wellness is a reflection of your lifestyle. So you can make a little change with a heroic month, but a month later, nothing is different or things are worse.
Yeah.
So consistency is key. Like figure out your lifestyle of fitness, your lifestyle of diet, and get ready
don't
for that
stop.
10 years
That's great.
overnight thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, prioritize sustainability.
Yeah,
And,
that's more succinct.
well, I think that's what I said. Yeah. And workouts don't have to be boring either.
Yeah.
Like you don't just have to run
Yeah.
unless you really
Yeah.
love it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes in your workout you will run, but that doesn't mean that's the only
Yeah.
thing that you
Right.
should or have to do to get in shape too.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, we're super proud of you guys.
I
Thanks
know.
thanks for inspiring others and for modeling to your family what this lifestyle
Yeah.
looks like too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
You
you
guys
guys.
are awesome. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for your time. We'll catch you later.
Thank you.
Of
for
course.
being here.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Take care.